Hello, hello! My name is Kallista, and welcome back to Dragon Age 2. In the last episode, we were going to have a chat with Aveline, see just what she's been up to during the past 3 years. However, very quickly, Fenris, I noticed that you have a level. Fenris, there you are. Okay, that's good. I think I'll probably focus on 2 Constitution, 1 Willpower for Fenris from now on. You know, considering he's a warrior, I think that makes sense. And, oh dear. The game started him off in both Vanguard and Battlemaster. Let's have a read. Vanguard. A Vanguard believes that a good offense is the best defense. Their powerful strikes are matched with ruthless techniques. That sounds like Fenris. That really sounds like Fenris. Battlemaster. When fighting solo, a Battlemaster is an efficient killing machine. When fighting alongside allies, the warrior becomes a seasoned leader who can rally others to turn the tide of combat. Yeah, Vanguard. Vanguard screams Fenris to me. There we go. And yeah, you ain't getting anything, Amelia. You can quit with that. Alrighty then. Aveline, how have you been, Chuck? You alright?
Guardsmen, duties for the week will be...
Lowtown canvas. 5 on, 3 off.
City perimeter by 2s. Clear by 2nd watch.
Training recruits full metal by week's end.
Anything else, Captain?
No. Thank you. Donicus, a good man. I'm sorry, was there something you wanted?
Indeed there was. How was the honeymoon? That's right, Aveline and Donic got married. The guards look well trained. You've settled in as captain. Let's start with the most important one, which is clearly this.
You never said how your 3 weeks in Orlais went.
You're right. I didn't.
Ooh, shivery.
Anything else?
The guards do look very well trained.
Your men could give the Templars a run for their sovereigns.
They've had to. As long as there's no Viscount, the Order thinks they can bark at any man in uniform. I won't have it. The people of Kirkwall need to see themselves in their guard. Lose that connection, we're just targets.
Ooh, and Amelia found herself rolling her eyes at Aveline's comment there. Amelia meant that in a very jovial way. She wasn't at all being serious. But of course, Aveline took it seriously, and I will say Amelia and Aveline's relationship has deteriorated over the past 3 years. It's not like Amelia hates Aveline. She still absolutely adores her. She views her as a sister still, but Aveline has proven that her views... She's not necessarily anti-Templar, but she is very clearly anti-Meredith. And Amelia really doesn't like that.
Kirkwall seems to have rallied around you.
I try to keep order, and people appreciate that. Everything else is going insane. A few complaints here and there, but for the most part, I think everyone's just glad the guard has been stable for a few years.
Yeah, anything going on?
Just checking in. Need anything?
Yes, there's something. Come back soon. I'll get into it then.
Alrighty then.
I'll see you later.
Of course, Hawk.
Okay, well, we didn't get any new quests. I'm going to assume we're going to have to complete loose ends before Aveline's companion quest for Act 3 rocks up. Yeah. Aveline and Amelia's relationship over the past 3 years. I'm trying to think of the best way I can describe this. Amelia has distanced herself from Aveline just because Aveline, she is constantly spouting this anti-Meredith rhetoric. Oh, that she's trying to be the Viscount. She shouldn't be the Viscount. The Templars think they can bark orders at my men. And Amelia would never say this because Aveline isn't anti-Templar. She has proven this. She's not... Aveline kind of occupies a middle ground. She's not anti-Templar, she's not pro-Templar, she's not anti-mage, she's not pro-mage. She's just kind of in the middle there. And because of that, Amelia doesn't feel the need to argue. Like she argues with Anders or Merrill. But Aveline has very clearly shown she doesn't like Meredith. And so many of their conversations, Aveline will go on these little rants about like, oh, Meredith is making my job so much harder. And Amelia mentally checks out of the conversation. As soon as Aveline starts going off about Meredith, Amelia rolls her eyes and, yep, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, I'm listening, yeah, whatever, And that's all Amelia will do for the rest of the conversation. And as I said, Amelia views Aveline as like a sister. She doesn't want to fight with Aveline. She doesn't want to not get on with her. But Aveline, she just won't stop going on about how Meredith is trying to take over this city and, oh, she's preventing me from doing my job, blah, blah, blah. And it has caused Amelia to, basically say, if you want to say that stuff, go right on ahead, but you can say it to someone who isn't me, because I don't want to listen to that. No, thank you. Now then, I believe... Where was it? Characters. Aveline, the last 3 years. Thanks to the champion's actions, Aveline and Donnic Hendir were married a year ago in a simple ceremony on the Hawk estate. They honeymooned in Orlais, the only time that Aveline has visited the country of her namesake. The pair has since settled into a happy marriage. Although she remains his captain and he her guardsman, Aveline now strictly divides her personal and private life. She is no less driven to keep her guardsmen safe, but Donnic provides another perspective, and she is now giving her guard the authority they need to truly serve Kirkwall. As a force for law and order, the Guard has never been more respected. This brings its own challenges, however, as some among the Templars would prefer that the Guard be under their direct command. A couple of things. One, if Aveline and Donnic don't get married, this second paragraph is completely different. Because it's Donnic that allowed Aveline to kind of step back from the Guards. It was Donnic who said, hey, you're kind of babying us. We're competent. We're guards. We know how to fight. We know how to defend ourselves. Please let us do what you have trained us to do. And if Aveline isn't married to Donnic, there's no one there to tell her that. And basically the second paragraph says that the Guards are actually very unhappy with Aveline as their Guard captain because she constantly, I guess, coddles them and they don't appreciate that. And I find that so interesting. Secondly, Amelia agrees with the Templars the Guards should be under their direct command because this'll sound very harsh, but when Aveline said, oh, the Order thinks that they can bark at anyone in a uniform, Amelia did think, well, maybe they should. How good were you at apprehending Quentin 3 years ago? How good were your guardsmen at finding a serial killer who had been murdering women for years? Oh, that's right, they couldn't. Yeah, your guardsmen are ever so competent, Aveline. And Amelia would never say that because, I said this at the time, Amelia doesn't blame Aveline for what happened to Leandra. That was Amelia's fault and it was Quentin's fault in Amelia's mind. But it's when Aveline kind of goes off and like, oh, my guards can do their jobs. Amelia does think, oh, I wonder if Leandra would agree with that. She'd never say it, but she thinks it. Now, clearly, their relationship isn't awful, given the fact that Amelia allowed Aveline and Donick to get married on her estate, but Amelia has pulled back from the relationship. I don't think she hangs out with Aveline as much. I don't think she invites Aveline and Donick over for dinner quite as much as she used to. Or, maybe goes over to their house and, just plays some cards or whatever. Like, they've really stopped doing that. I think maybe they see each other on a personal level maybe twice a month. Whereas prior to Meredith kind of becoming the Viscount, they were seeing each other at least once a week in a personal capacity. I'm not talking about running around hunting bandits and doing shit that the game is showing us. I'm talking about the behind the scenes shenanigans. As I said, Amelia inviting Aveline over for dinner. Their relationship, it has certainly gone a bit cold. She still loves Aveline, but it's just not the same as it once was, I'm afraid. Longbow of the Jackal. There once was a bard from Monsignor whose tongue was made of purest silver. His name was Corsa the Jackal, and he was famous for enchanting emperors and empresses by knowing exactly what to say to please them. This often got Corsa into trouble. One day, Corsa was travelling to Valrio, where he was to press his silver-tongued words into Empress... Flippin' heck, how do you say that? Necessitus? That doesn't sound like a name to me, but fuck it, we'll go with it. Where he was to press his silver-tongued words into Empress Necessitus's ear. As he walked and rehearsed, a mighty storm blew in. Rain washed away the path, and Corsa became hopelessly lost. Chill set into his bones, so he took shelter in a cave. But the cave was home to a big brown bear. Corsa drew his longbow, but the bear seized it. I was just about to go out for dinner, said the bear. Nice of you to drop by. He looked at Corsa and began to drool. You shouldn't do that, replied Corsa. I am old and stringy and not at all good to eat. Let me share your cave, and in the morning I will gather honey and berries. You shall have a feast fit for kings. Agreed, said the bear, but go no further into the cave. You won't like what you'll find there. Corsa warmed himself by nestling into the bear's thick fur. The bear fell asleep, but Corsa was kept awake by what lay further in the darkness. Finally, he could no longer endure the mystery. At the back of the cave, Corsa found a huge room, and in the middle of that room, an enormous dragon. Said the dragon. Food. Wait, cried Corsa. I am old and stringy and not at all good to eat. Let me leave, and I will bring you the bear. I think not, said the dragon. That bear promised me breakfast. And that was the end of the jackal. The Tale of Corsa from Bedtime Stories for Good Children by Sister Marigold. Oh, I thought this sounded like a kid's story. Oh, I really liked that. That made me so nostalgic. Back when I used to volunteer at the library, we occasionally had to read to the kids. Oh, I like that. That was a good codex entry. 10 out of 10. Would read again. Anything else? Dragon's blood. Collecting dragon's blood is an extremely difficult task, even for the most accomplished dragon hunter. First, one must locate the increasingly rare creatures. Second, one must bleed it. However, I believe at the moment of death, the blood loses something special, a certain fiery essence, perhaps. Of course, bleeding a live dragon is quite tricky. Dragon's blood has a wide variety of uses, both magical and culinary. It's an important component of rune crafting, and those like my great-grandfather enjoy a sprinkling of the powdered stuff to their food at the dinner table. From Discovering Dragon's Blood, Potions, Tinctures and Spicy Sauces by Ferdinand Pentagast. That name should sound familiar if you think back to the beginning of the game. The lady that Varric is regaling with the story of Hawke. She introduced herself as, I am Cassandra Pentagast, Seeker of the Chantry. We will learn a great deal more about her family in Inquisition. Speaking of which, it really feels like Inquisition is just around the corner, and I don't necessarily like that. It feels like yesterday that I got started on Dragon Age 2, and to be honest, I'm rather nervous about Inquisition because I'm not entirely sure if I'll be jumping straight from Dragon Age 2 into Inquisition. Basically, I'm building a new computer. Fingers crossed the parts will have arrived before I've finished Dragon Age 2, because if they do, hopefully, it should be a seamless change. You won't notice anything, and I can play Dragon Age Inquisition on the new computer. Daisy, my current rig, yes, I have named my computer. If people can name their cars, I can name my computer. Daisy, she plays Dragon Age at a mostly medium level. Some of my sliders are set to high, I think maybe 2 of them, so it is mostly medium, and I don't think she would be capable of running Inquisition, Audacity, and OBS all at the same time. I'm pretty sure I would have to play on low settings, and that is not what I want. If I am playing Inquisition on my channel, I want the prettiest graphics I can have, so I'm kind of up in the air about what will happen when Dragon Age 2 ends. I might have to play another game in between. And yes, I know I have stopped. There's a banter point right there, so I just kind of want to get my thoughts out. If I do have to play a kind of in-between game, shall we say, please do leave suggestions in the comments below. I do accept suggestions, although I reserve the right to play what I like on my channel. I do not touch horror games. No thank you to Outlast.
Varric.
I've seen less ostentatious palaces.
The assembly votes on it. Enough votes, and bam, you're a living god.
You should ask to be made a paragon of manliness.
Oh, I like the way you think, Ravani. But one doesn't just ask to be made a paragon.
Why not? Everyone can see you're a paragon of manliness. It's just a matter of making it official.
I wonder if that banter was real, or if that's just something Varric added in to make Cassandra blush. Because I could kind of see it going either way, because that does also sound like something Isabella would say, but I'm not too sure there. Now then, any loot for the taking. Whilst I'm here, I might as well hand in the Kunari sword I have. Nothing there. And good evening, guardsmen. Anything round here? Yes, there we go. Thank you kindly. Now then, Tabas, have this sword.
Have you located any Kunari blades?
Here you go.
This is what I found.
If you find more, bring them to me.
Oh, Isabella, okay. Let's go. Part of me is very tempted to just put everything into cunning, because her cunning is stupidly low, and I just don't know why. Because that's how the game started her off, with low cunning and high dexterity, and yeah, I get that's better for a dual-wield rogue, but considering that lockpicking is based off of cunning, you know, that's what I'm gonna prioritize. Ooh. You should have some of this. There we go. Alrighty then. And from here, we are going to check in with Fenris, because he has some important news. Don't look at that woman. Is there anything on the Chanter's board now that I think about it? Nothing. Yeah, don't look at that woman. Don't make eye contact. We'll deal with her later. Now is not the time.
To the void with this. I can never remember what Mistress wants.
Oh, okay, madam. You do you.
The Chantry should do more in Lowtown.
It should. It should. Lowtown is a mess. But I'm sure that, you know, the Chantry's funds are stretched pretty thin as it is, so I'm sure they're doing everything they can in Lowtown, but they could do more. Just a wee bit more. Now then, Fenris.
Are you certain it's her?
An elf matching your description on the ship you named, and alone as far as I could tell.
I need to know if it's a trap.
I did as you asked, Fenris. Now it's up to you. You talk to him, Hawk. I've had my fill for today.
Then heed it, first of us.
I find it stupidly disconcerting the fact that when Fenris slammed his hands down on the table, it didn't make a sound. I find that so... it makes my skin crawl a little bit, and I don't know why. Yeah, is there a problem?
Maybe it's just me, but I'd swear you're upset.
It's my sister. I didn't tell you, but I followed up on Hadriana's information. Everything she said was true. I had to keep it quiet, but I eventually contacted Varania and sent her coin enough to come meet me. And now she's here.
Oh, Amelia... Amelia would be so proud of Fenris for reaching out to his sister.
She was in Carinus after all.
My sister left Magister Araman's service, and I found her in Minrathus. That made things more difficult. But according to the men I paid, it's just as Hadriana said. She's not a slave. She's a tailor, in fact. Getting a letter to her was difficult, and she didn't believe me at first. But she's finally come.
Okay, so what's the problem? It's pretty obvious what the problem is. He's worried that it's a trap, and considering that this is a family matter, I don't think Amelia is inclined to be sarcastic. She takes family extremely seriously, considering that most of hers is dead.
You're worried Daenerys knows?
The more it seems he doesn't know, the more certain I become he does. Come with me, Hawk. I need you there when I meet her.
Yo, Amelia doesn't need to ask if he's sure. Fenris is a very good friend. He wants to see his sister. She's got his back, 100%.
Where is she?
If we go to the Hanged Man during the day, she'll be there, for the next week at least. It would mean a lot to me. That's all I ask.
I absolutely love how vulnerable Fenris looks during that last sentence. It would mean a lot to me, that's all I ask. His face, it breaks my heart a little bit, it really does. Fenris, the last 3 years. 3 years ago, after confronting Hadriana, Fenris learned of his long-lost sister. He has spoken little of it, though it clearly still preys on his mind. He has not left Kirkwall to pursue the matter, remaining in Daenerys' mansion, even though it is common knowledge in Hightown that a friend of the champion lives within. Fenris finds his high profile in the city both intriguing and alarming. Over the last year, he has spoken more than once of leaving Kirkwall for good. If not for the debt he owes to Amelia, he would likely already have moved on. Ooh. This, you know, the fact that he's talking about leaving, Amelia doesn't like that. I think I mentioned this earlier. I do think Amelia has some abandonment issues because of her entire family's death. You know, I wouldn't necessarily say starting with Malcolm, because he died so long ago, and how do I put, like, Bethany died, then Carver died, then Mother, like, it all happened in relatively quick succession. Malcolm died, and then there was this big long gap. So I don't think it necessarily relates to her father's death, but the deaths of her siblings and mother hit her really hard. And I do think Amelia, she clings on to the people in her life. And this'll sound terrible. I do think Amelia has been using this debt that Fenris thinks he owes her as leverage. Basically, you know, whenever he says, oh, I'm thinking about moving on, she'll say in a half-joking, half-serious way, oh, but what about that debt? What about that debt? You never repaid me that debt from when we first met. Are you really gonna leave without repaying me? I'm kidding, but are you? Are you? Please don't leave me. And Amelia has a reoccurring nightmare, I think, and it brings her out in like a cold sweat. She wakes up terrified. And that is that one day all of her friends, like even including Meryl, for how much Amelia hates Meryl, even the idea of her leaving fills her with some semblance of dread. And in the nightmare, her friends have scattered to the wind and she is alone. And that thought, ooh, Amelia doesn't like it. So Amelia and Fenris, they've always had a very good relationship because their viewpoints are so similar. However, since Amelia has kind of backed away from Aveline, all the time she would have been spending with her, Amelia has instead been spending with Fenris. And, you know, I think she's a frequent visitor to the mansion, hence why everyone knows that, you know, a friend of the champions lives here. I think they also probably feed into, you know, like, oh, Meredith should be the Viscount. Why shouldn't she rule the city? Because Fenris, I know he never actually says this, but I could see Fenris being pro-Meredith. Just because she's done a cracking job with the Templars, and blood magic is such a problem in Kirkwall. I could see Fenris being pro-Meredith. So I think they kind of fuel each other in that way. And also Fenris has been spending more time at the Chantry, which we learn about that in banter with Sebastian, and Amelia would have noticed that. And the fact that he's letting the Maker's light into his heart. Oh, Amelia would be so proud of her boy. You know, from where he started to where he is. Now then, who do I want for this quest? We want Anders and Sebastian. There we go. Yeah, we are going to get straight onto Fenris's quest. This is a family matter. It's important. You want 2 magic 1 willpower. And let's get... I think another group heal would be good. And you want... Oh, God. Your cunning. Also horrifically low. I think just everything into cunning. I think. And... Bam, there we go. And, oh dear. Where do I want to go with for you? This subterfuge really is designed for melee rogues, so I'm disinclined to go with that. This is a bunch of modes. What scoundrel? Rogues proficient in these dastardly talents delight in exploiting their enemies' weaknesses and controlling the flow of battle. It has passives. Let's see. This is a bit dodgy, but... Ooh. Yeah, you know what? I think this sounds like Sebastian. He had that entire conversation about how he took up archery because it's the smart man's weapon. You can defend your city without ever leaving its protection. And this sounds like Sebastian. Yeah, there we go. And no, you don't get anything, Amelia. There we are. Okie doke, let's head to Lowtown. And whilst I'm here, I can check out the shops. Because I'm pretty sure at least one of them has a Kunari blade.
So your tranquil solution was hardly the Holocaust you imagined.
You've been seeking revenge for the death of one family for as long as I've known you. Are you honestly judging me for trying to save the lives of every mage in Thedas?
But they were never threatened. It was a single man's lunacy. The Chantry would never follow through with such a thing.
Yet.
Oh, that.
Why would anyone shop here instead of an actual store?
Sebastian, your upper class is showing. Please don't. These people are trying. God damn. Okay, nothing there. Is there anything in, where was it? There we go. Lyrene's Ferelden Imports, yeah.
The lot of Fereldans here has improved since your rise, champion. I'd be honored to sell you anything in the store.
Oh, that's lovely. Genuinely, that would make Amelia so happy. And if I'm being honest, I think that's the kind of one good thing Amelia has taken away from being champion, because she never wanted to be champion. Hell, she never wanted a load of money and the estate in Hightown. That was Leandra's dream. That was Leandra's dream, not Amelia's. All Amelia ever wanted was a simple life in the circle, and she still hasn't gotten that. But I think that when Amelia thinks that, like, oh, there are still Ferelden refugees in Kirkwall who are treated really poorly. There we go. Yet there are Fereldans stuck here that are treated so badly, and maybe when Kirkwallers see me and like, oh, we've got a champion and it's a Ferelden refugee, then the next time they encounter a Ferelden refugee, maybe they'll be kind. Maybe they won't try and beat the shit out of them or mug them or whatever. Maybe they'll think, this is this person is from the same place as our champion. Let's treat them with a bit of respect. And that idea is what Amelia really holds on to in all of this. Now then, I am just about out of time for this episode. In the next one, we go meet Fenris's sister in the Hanged Man. But until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below. And if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.